NASCAR times 3. It's a triple header at Pocono, and it begins with the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. So great to have you with us, and the weather splendid this morning. After some rain yesterday, looks good, and we're great.
Check
at
out
a great
this
racetrack, Mike.
Yeah, it's certainly a lot of fun, Vince. The Gander Outdoors track description here. You can see the 3 corners. They're fashioned after other racetracks around the country. Trenton, New Jersey was a track that closed back in 1980, but when they built this racetrack, they wanted it to be unique. So turn 1, fashioned after the turn 1 at Trenton. Talking about a lot of speed, Vince. When you get to turn 1, 180 miles an hour sets you up to go down the short chute, and then you're going to whip around the tunnel turn. Feels just like Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And then the third and most important turn is fashioned after the Milwaukee Mile. It sets you up for that long front straightaway. You really need to nail turn 3.
And there is no turn 4.
That's why I left it out. I mean, I didn't leave it out. They left it out.
They forgot. What turn 4?
Yeah, our race analysis, 60 laps, pretty short race. 15, 15, and 30 on the stages. I think that we're going to see a lot of strategy calls today. Pit window, 28 laps, 30 laps. That's close to making it after that second stage. So we're going to see a lot of strategy.
And that means fun, because we're going to see a lot of the running order mixed up. There's a guy starting in the back. We'll look at the starting lineup here in a bit. But Parker Kligerman's last. I mean, he's got to figure out a way to get the front. He's going to be fast. A lot of great stories.
Yeah, definitely some options for the crew chiefs today, as you see the starting lineup led by Johnny Sauter and Sheldon Creed. Austin Hill, Christian Eckes. We heard from Eckes a few moments ago, starting in row 2. A couple of ThorSport drivers. Enfinger, a 2-time winner this season, in row 3.
Enfinger's been the story this year, as has Zane Smith. He showed a lot of flashes of brilliance. It's been fun to watch this kid get his legs under him.
Brett Moffitt, Brandon Jones. Brandon's going to be tough in that 51. Tyler Ankrum coming off a second-place finish last race. Derek Kraus and Rafael Lessard, row 7. Those are those newbies I talked about in the middle of that hornet's nest.
Row 8, Ross Chastain won this race 1 year ago.
What do y'all say we check in with one of the competitors, see what Stuart Friesen's thinking this morning? Hello, Stuart. It's Michael Waltrip and the Fox team. Do you copy, my friend?
Yes, sir. I got you, Mikey.
Well, it was a late last night race for you on the dirt. How did you survive up at Middletown, and are you ready for this adventure today?
Yeah, absolutely. We got out of it with a 4th place last night. Late night, little rain delay, but all good. Ready to keep this race to beat hunger going.
Yeah, if you win this race, your owner's going to donate $10,000 to the Hunger Bank. That's awesome. Don't be too hungry going down into turn 1. We just showed some video, and it was a little bit disturbing. Got loose on you a year ago. Make sure you keep it straight and drive to victory lane, bud.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lot of Northeast race fans pulling for us today, and we want to give them something to watch here this morning as they have their coffee on the back porch.
Thank you so much, bud. Have fun.
All right, thank you, guys.
Let's go back downstairs, check in with Jamie.
Hey, Vince. Well, there's one driver in the field who has been the picture of consistency this year, and that is Austin Hill. He's the only driver who's finished in the top 10 every single race. I talked to Scott Zipadelli, his crew chief, and Scott told me their one weakness, the one thing that has kept them from victory lane, is their short run speed. They've really focused on that in their setup today because this race is so short. And Austin told me if they can keep that track position, if they can have those good restarts, today could be the day they get their first win. Vince?
Yes, indeed. And Austin Hill seems to be one you got to deal with every single race. They have really got things going. And Todd Gilliland hustling back to the bus to check out the trucks here at Pocono. What a beautiful sight. It is indeed a gorgeous morning at Pocono Raceway, getting ready for the Gander Trucks. The first of 3 races today at Pocono. The Xfinity race and the Cup race will follow, but who do you like in this one, Michael?
I love Brandon Jones. I think this is the team that's going to win the race today. We talked about Kyle Busch Motorsports domination here. He gets her done.
Todd?
Well, I'm going with our defending race winner, the watermelon man, Ross Chastain. I want to see him get up there and smash another watermelon. It's been a long time since we've seen that. I think Ross gets it done today.
Well, 7 of the 10 winners here at Pocono in the trucks have come from the front row, and I think that trend will continue today. I'm going to Johnny Sauter to get his first win of the season. They've been knocking at the door. 2nd place finish, 5th place most recent race, and I think Sauter's going to get it done today. Who you like, Jamie?
No. I think it's all about Kyle Busch Motorsports. The 18, Christian Eckes, is my pick. He won here in the ARCA Series race. I think he's got Kyle Busch watching and listening and talking to him all race long. Let's go racing.
Let's do it indeed. Green at Pocono. Love the way they fan out on this front stretch, heading to turn 1.
Oh, by the way, for the first time in a year, that's intimidating, isn't it?
No practice, no problem. Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed.
Here we go.
And there is an incident in the first turn, just like you indicated, Mike, and we saw Stuart Friesen have that problem a year ago. And today, it's Matt Crafton in the 88 and the 9 of Cody Robaugh.
Yeah, that is a big day for Cody. You can see picture of young Joshua there on the hood. Was hurt in a kayaking accident, and they're trying to raise some money and some awareness, get some prayers for the young man.
8-year-old Joshua Kirk recovering after that kayak accident last month in West Virginia.
Well, that's tough right there, Todd. You've been there. We've all had to wreck on the first lap in our careers, but man, it's the most disappointing. You worked so hard for this moment, and it's so disappointing.
You didn't even get a chance to race. You didn't get one corner in. All that work gone down the tubes. We know how hard these guys work and how excited they are to get out the race and have it end that quick.
And they started 17th and 18th, right back there together. And keep an eye out for that neon yellow truck of Crafton. There he is on the high side heading into turn 1. And Robaugh
No, Robaugh got hit by the 22.
Like Austin Wayne Self got into Robaugh.
And Robaugh did nothing wrong. Crafton didn't. Stuart Friesen barely slipped through again. Todd, you talked about the hornet's nest, the middle of the pack. That was so avoidable on the 22's part, but you know, you go down in there and you throw it all out there, and sometimes it don't come back.
You know, Michael, going down into turn 1 at Pocono, it's like playing a game of chicken. You know, you go in there 3 and 4, 5 wide. Who's going to lift and who's going to get out of the hole and give up the spot? And Austin Wayne Self thought that he had enough room. And for the spotters, for Cody Robaugh and his spotter, it's so hard to call that position getting in that corner because the spotters are literally up by the start-finish line, and the angle for them to call that is just really difficult.
Well, what a tough break for Crafton. Of course, Crafton, the defending series champion, but he was on the outside looking in regards to the playoff picture this season, and now to be out after one turn, certainly going to damage his chances, put him in an even deeper hole. Jamie?
And Junior Joyner, his crew chief, actually was telling me, Vince, that they were really focused on stage points today, not even really thinking about the win because they've lost so many points. And Matt, I just talked to him before he got in his truck, and he said, you know, where I'm starting in 18th, I should be okay. I'll watch the rat's nest up ahead of me and watch those guys figure it out. Not the case here. Only 2 laps in, and we'll be talking to him shortly at the medical center.
First turn, first lap for the 2nd year in a row. Watch it here from Brennan Poole's view. Early caution at Pocono. Well, it didn't take long. First lap, first corner. Cody Robaugh in the 9 truck and Matt Crafton in the 88. With a little help, it looked like, on our initial replay from the 22 of Austin Wayne Self. But
yeah, Self was on the bottom of the track.
And there's the onboard look of Brennan Poole and the Remember Everyone Deployed camera. RED, it's a charity for families whose husband and or wife are currently deployed. And for more information, you can visit remembereveryoneDeployed.today.
You can hear Brennan there, Vince, shutting his engine off, coasting. You want to have all the fuel on board.
Already?
Every ounce of fuel you can have on board, you want to have it. It gives you options. It could open up some strategy if the cautions fly properly.
Well, the biggest thing on the end of this first stage, if you pit and you say you're only taking 2 tires, it takes less fuel, so it's less time on pit road. But, you know, Michael, I got to wonder right now, we got 38 other drivers out here that just saw what happened. Do you think that on this restart that we're going to see the same thing, or do you think they're thinking, hey, you know, we just need to get this thing rolling and get through the first corner?
Wow.
You know, it looked like Robaugh got a little bit loose there before Self got to the left rear. So
it's probably a avoidable accident, but Self probably had no idea that the 9 was going to come over like he did. We talk about how difficult this turn is. I mean, we talked about it in the opening of the show, and it proves to be the case there.
Let's hear a little radio from Self.
All right, front nose. I don't think we got too much damage there. It just came down on me. Yeah, 10-4, you did a good job there. You're fine. You did what you did. He came down across you.
So maybe a little bit of contact you heard there from Self, but the first time we looked at it, it looked like Self is the reason that Robaugh got loose, but we'll go back and correct that because it definitely looked like Robaugh got loose before the contact from the 22.
And well, Todd, as you well know, if you get right on a guy, he could get loose. You know, it could give him a chance to get a little bit sideways, and maybe that air moved around the 9 truck enough to get him sideways.
Absolutely, Michael. You know, the position of these trucks on that left rear quarter panel, if you're behind the truck in front of you a little bit, it actually tries to push that truck in front of you sideways. If you get up a little bit, it'll push the air up on the spoiler and make it tight. So we saw right there that it probably pushed him around, got him sideways, got him loose.
We'll get ready for this restart here with Sheldon Creed restarting on the outside, and Austin Hill will restart on the inside as you see the field lined up in rows of 2. They come down that long backstretch headed toward the tunnel turn.
What about that one turn for Brandon Jones? Started in 10th. My pick is already up to 5th. Looks like you got a pretty good truck.
Well, and there's the damage. Well, that's the playoff cut line coming into the race today. So damage to Matt Crafton's chances for sure. And we got a ways to go before the playoffs, obviously, but it's a big blow to Crafton because that negative number is going to be a lot larger at the end of the day.
There's the 21 of Zane Smith. Tyler Ankrum, you mentioned second last time out for that orange 26. He was also second here a year ago, so this is a great track for Ankrum.
Short stage. Remember, these first 2 stages just 15 laps each, so it won't take time. This race will zip by. Just a little bit more than an hour typically, so you don't want to step away from it. You will miss something here today. We'll listen to the 2 radio of Sheldon Creed as we go back green and racing at Pocono.
They're locked together under us as well. Still locked on you right here. They're apart under us, still inside quarter. Bumper, clear into 1. 98 still pushing. Back inside bumper, clear, clear. Great job, man. That was perfect. Good by 3. Nice and smooth. Hit your marks. If they do get up tight behind us, just make sure we carry the line longer than them. Get them tight behind us. By 1.
That was the voice of Sheldon Creed's spotter, Derek Nealand.
They made it.
Yeah, they tiptoed through that turn 1 a little softer that time.
I think the crew chiefs had a little talk with their drivers for that one.
I was just so happy they made it. Oh, look at this crash.
Oh, no.
Rafael Lassard, and it is The 22 of Austin Wayne Self again, and the 4 of Lessard was in the grass at one point. Heavy hit for Lessard. And while Austin Wayne Self avoided the incident in turn 1 on the first lap, he was not able to avoid that situation, and there is heavy damage to the front end of that 22 truck.
Sometimes it just doesn't pay to get up out of bed in the morning. This is a terrible start to the race for Self and Robaugh, Crafton, and now Lessard. Look at that truck.
Well, Lessard was another one that came into this race below the playoff cut line, and they had high hopes for his finish today.
Did they somehow get bottled up here? The 04, yeah. Roper was down low and off the gas, and I don't think that Lessard anticipated him not having that much speed, and he had to avoid him.
Yeah, I think Raphael felt like he was going to come down the racetrack, and he was trying to give him some room. And being the first time that Raphael has ever been through turn 3, he didn't realize that the grass was right there. There was no apron at that point of the racetrack, and we know how these splitters are. They dig right in. It dug in and turned them up the track.
It all started with the 04 losing maybe a little bit of momentum. And
well, you look at that right there, and Raphael had plenty of room. I don't know. I think maybe the inexperience
missed the turn.
That's absolutely right.
Well, certainly frustrating for Lessard, and he came into this race, his average finish back just inside the top 20. This certainly isn't going to help it, but he's going to these tracks for the first time, and for a young driver, just an 18-year-old rookie, those are some of the challenges you face. The unfamiliarity. Let's check in with Jamie.
Matt Crafton now has been checked and released. And Matt, we just talked before the race, and you thought maybe you'd be okay where you were. Not the case. What did you see?
My spotter said 3 wide, 3 wide. And I thought he gave him enough room, but I guess he said he got clipped in the left rear when he was telling me inside, and then he went up and got me in the left rear and spun me. But wrong place, wrong time. So move on to Kentucky.
All right, thanks, Matt.
Boy, sometimes that's just the way it is, right? Wrong place, wrong time. Nothing to do with it, and you just get collected.
Look at Stuart Friesen, almost 2 years in a row in the first turn. He barely snuck by on the low side.
Think he was holding his breath, Michael?
Well, that was the first caution, and this was the second caution. Raphael Lessard and Austin Wayne Self. Major League Baseball has announced that the 2020 season will begin Friday, July 24th, with MLB on Fox returning on July 25th. With Fox Saturday Baseball, we could not be more excited about the great news for baseball fans across the country. I'll raise my hand to that. I am one. Baseball is back, and of course, America's home for baseball this summer, as always, will be Fox and FS1. I've missed baseball this summer, and we saw Todd Gilliland jogging a little bit earlier. Eric Amarola, a little more relaxed.
That's more my pace there. I like where he's going right now. Got a big day ahead of him today. Another race.
Had a great run yesterday.
Yeah, really fast car.
2 great runs in a row. A third at Talladega, a third yesterday.
Guys, let's go back and look at this wreck again. I said the 04 of Corey Roper. That's actually the 24 of Chase Purdy and the 19 of Derek Kraus. They come together a bit, and I think it distracted the 4 of Lessard, Todd.
I think so too, Michael. I think that Raphael felt like that they were coming down the track, and there again, his first race at this racetrack, I think he just misjudged the angle of the corner, the radius of the corner, and just made a mistake and got that left side off in the grass.
The first truck race at this track for all 3 of those drivers, Purdy, Kraus, and Lessard, although Lessard ran top 5 in a couple of ARCA races here last year, so at least he was at a track that he was familiar with, even though he hadn't run the truck here.
And let me remind you, Vince, we had the same thing happen a year ago. There's that loss of momentum of 24 for Purdy. You could see, I think you're right, Todd. He just dove too low.
He just lost track of where he was at, paying attention to those 2 trucks in front of him.
We talked about Matt Crafton being kind of an innocent bystander getting caught up in that turn 1, lap 1 incident, and Austin Wayne Self, he had nothing to do with that accident, and he gets taken out by Lessard.
Like I said, sometimes it just don't pay to get out of bed, and today's been a really rough start today for all these teams. And I just wanted to point out, Vince, we mentioned at the top of the show, no practice. Don't blame these crashes on necessarily no practice. We had a day's worth of practice a year ago, and the same thing happened in turn 1. So this isn't a result of that so much. And like you said, Lessard's been at this track. He knows the track. Just sometimes circumstances throw you for a curve.
Well, Sheldon Creed there at the head of the field hasn't even had a chance to stretch his legs yet. We've had 2 early cautions here in the first 8 laps. Turn 1, lap 1, involving Cody Robaugh and Matt Crafton, and then this most recent incident, Raphael Lessard and Austin Wayne Self.
Well, Johnny Sauter, our pole sitter, didn't have a very good start. Back to 4th already.
Brennan Poole says, can someone bring me a coffee? It's early this morning. I'd like to have a little something to pick me up.
car's coming in. Green flag is in the air for Martin Truex Jr. here at the Poconos. Meanwhile, Clint Bowyer, Ryan Newman make a 3-wide with William Byron coming around this first triangle trip. Kevin Harvick gets loose, tipped by Jimmy Johnson, hits Ricky Stenhouse Jr., collects Clint Bowyer, and many more. William Byron coming around this final turn. William Byron will get his first win in the Faded Racing Series at the Poconos.
How about Ryder Sachs? Youngster has his own YouTube channel where he creates those videos, and no such problems for Kevin Harvick yesterday. That 4-team took it to victory lane yesterday here at the Poconos, and we'll have another shot at making it back-to-back later today. Let's go back downstairs, check in with Jamie.
Well, it's been an adventurous 7 laps for Austin Wayne Self. Unfortunately, Austin, you were out of this one, but what did you see? We watched the replay and it looked like a lot of different scenarios happening around you.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I've been part of some short races. I don't think I completed the green flag lap, so it's just unfortunate. I felt like we had a really good AM Technical Solutions Chevy Silverado. It just wasn't our day. These restarts are pretty wild here, especially in truck series. Short race. These restarts is where you got to make up all your time. Yeah, that hurt right there. You got to make up all your time early on, and that's what everybody's doing. And it's not a whole lot of real estate here. And fortunately, we got a couple weeks off, so we're going to get everything back together. And Kentucky is a place I really love going to, so look forward to showing up there.
Was a big hit indeed. Thank you for your time. We'll see you at Kentucky.
Thank you.
Yeah, glad Austin is okay. The red has been lifted and now under yellow flag conditions as Jimmy Johnson's 48 Hendrick Motorsports crew pushing it through the garage area. The first time ever, we mentioned this earlier, but worth noting again, the first time ever in NASCAR history that 3 races have been scheduled for the same day at the same track. The trucks, the Xfinity, and Cup today. And in Jimmy's honor, the start-finish line right there with his name on it.
That's pretty special. Everybody's really paying tribute and saying thank you to what a wonderful ride it's been for Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, Jimmy's meant an awful lot to this sport. Been a great champion for a long time.
Vince, you talked about breakfast at Pocono. We're going to have lunch at Pocono.
It's quickly turning into brunch, isn't it?
Little happy hour dinner slash event this evening.
Hey.
So this is a race fan. This is the best day ever for a race
It's 5
fan.
o'clock somewhere. Jamie?
Well, Rafael Lessard coming off his best finish of the year at the last race, and now you end this one early. Rafael, what did you see around you at that time?
Well, I tried to go on the inside of the 24, and it was kind of slow, and then just kind of blocked me a little bit, and then I just kind of fenced it. I'm not sure what happened. I think I got hooked on the right rear, but it is what it is. It's part of it. I hit the grass. That's what happened. Well, it sucks. My mistake. Gonna learn from it, and just can't thank everyone at Kyle Busch Motorsport, Toyota, Sirius XM, and Canuck. It's not what we wanted, and we're just gonna move on and focus on the next one.
Well done. We'll see you at Kentucky, and hats off to our replay guys, showing us that the perspective maybe changes for these drivers, Vince, when they have a chance to actually see what happened with their own eyes.
I was just getting ready to say, how many times do you think what happened, and then when you go back later and look at the replay, isn't really what you felt?
Well, I mean, that was a perfect example of many different contributing factors that got Lessard too low on the track. The loss of momentum for the 24 of Purdy. The way that the trucks go into that turn, you can't really see what's ahead of you that well, and he just got too low.
Yeah, he couldn't put it any more clear. That sucks. It was my fault. So unfortunate for Rafael not to be able to get some laps here.
What do y'all think? Can we?
Well, I'll tell you what I think. If I'm the crew chief and I'm the spotter, I've been preaching that under that red flag to my driver, look, make some laps. Don't put yourself in a bad spot. I've had some chance here to coach a couple of these drivers for this race. And that's the one thing I told them. I said, man, just get through the starts and the restarts and make laps and get yourself figured out and stay out of trouble, because this is what happens at Pocono.
Well, we'll try this again. Third time the charm.
Brett Moffitt, you saw him working on his truck on pit road. Obviously the truck's not set up the way he would like it early in the going, and he's gone all the way to the back. I don't know about all that.
Yeah, some major adjustments on that 23 truck. I didn't think we'd run long enough to figure out that he didn't like it. It must have really been off.
Well, they had the hood up, putting rounds in both fronts, Michael, so I got to believe the splitter was bottoming out. You cannot drive these things on the splitter for sure.
This is crazy. Let's see if we can make a lap, guys. I'm excited to see it.
Well, the restarts are always the craziest. Here at Pocono, they will fan out 4-5 wide after that nearly 8.5-minute red flag. We are back racing.
Well, they certainly didn't listen to my advice.
You just use that big old draft. These things put off such a wake of air, and these guys just want to take advantage of it.
Austin Hill on the bottom, Chase Purdy, or excuse me, Sheldon Creed on the outside of Hill, battling for the lead. Grant Infinger right there behind him in third. Johnny Sauter in there as well, still battling, and Creed finally going to close the door for the top spot.
Austin Hill with a nice run off turn one, but couldn't finish the deal. Talked earlier about short run speed for that team. That's been the challenge. Looks like they got some good short run speed today.
Look at Ty Majeski now. He's restarted this thing about 8th place. He's going for third right here. He went through 1 and 2 on 3 wide on the outside, and he gets that third place. Man, what a run he's got.
Yeah, Majeski started 19th today.
Ty has a lot of experience here in the ARCA series, so no stranger. Look how high he's running, right up in that traction compound. He watched that cup race yesterday for sure.
And this is different, Todd. They've never run up in the traction compound in these trucks, so I know it's going to take a little bit of getting used to and see how much they can actually take advantage of the darker surface.
And the traction compound was on the track last year for the trucks, but it was up a little bit higher, and we never really saw the trucks get into it. On board with Brennan Poole.
Oh, Red's the dangest truck you've ever seen. Running good today.
Well done, Michael. 38 is Gilliland. The 13 is Sauter, and that's for 7th. Johnny gets it. Johnny Sauter started on pole today.
That's got to be a little disappointing. Get a start on the pole and find yourself all the way back.
Oh, and now the 45 of Majeski after some contact and a heavy hit. Majeski won the ARCA race here last year, but we had just mentioned what a great start he was off to here in this race, and I'm sure was thinking maybe he had something to work with for the long haul today, and his day quickly comes to an end.
Yeah, you know what? It's a little early in this race to be trying to block somebody that's got to run. You just got to let them go. It's not a long race, but you got time. You had 3 laps to the break, the stage, and man, just settle in and get some laps.
And there's Infinger's left front, which got into the right rear of Majeski.
What a shame. Had such a fast truck.
Beautiful truck too. The American flag there on the back. Nice Motorsports. Al Nice bringing such fast trucks to the track. And Ty was taking advantage of it early, but unfortunately into the wall.
Watch it play out here. We'll start back in turn 3, and that's Majeski, that 3rd truck in line, that white truck.
This is drafting. They're all trying to break the draft or get a run with the draft, and you can see the silver truck behind the white one. He's going to swing up to the outside because he got that draft. And when he does that, Majeski moves up to block, and they come together. Looked like Infinger moved down a little, and Majeski, what did you see, Tom?
Well, you called it perfect. Grant went to the outside, had about maybe a foot up alongside Ty's truck, and there again, as a driver, you have to make the call inside that truck whether you're going to try to block him or not. At that point, Ty had the line into the corner, and I don't think I would have tried to block him. A spotter cannot. That's the spotter view. That's what the spotter would see. You can't make that call for the driver. If he's alongside him, you can say looking outside, maybe outside, but you can't make the call, and it's up to the driver to make that decision.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, that looks like with the trucks right up to the wall there along the front straight.
Man, that's the driver's best friend. That wall moving takes all that energy away from that driver. Yeah. That's a great shot.
Thank goodness. But I was going to say the way the trucks were right up against that wall on the front straight is a tough view for the spotters. Boy, Majeski really hit hard, and as you guys noted, thank goodness for that safer barrier. Wow, it has been crazy. We haven't even completed 13 laps, and we've had 3 cautions already. Still trying to get through stage 1. A little morning craziness here at Pocono. Well, we're easing into your morning. The third caution, second red flag today here in the first 12 laps.
I didn't see that one coming. Did you? A couple of red flags?
No.
Well, we had turn 1, lap 1, involving Matt Crafton and Cody Robaugh. And then when we whipped back green right away, it was Rafael Lassard and Austin Wayne Self. And this time it's the 45 of Ty Majeski. Glad to see Jesse Iwuji back in the Gander trucks here with us today, making his second start of the season. Lieutenant Commander in the United States Navy.
That's incredible that he loves racing like he does and has some pretty special friends too, Jamie.
Yes, he does. Look at that smile. He's one of the nicest guys you'll meet in the garage. But yes, he has Sean Merriman, a 3-time NFL All-Pro linebacker for the San Diego, what was then the San Diego Chargers. He backs Jesse in the Xfinity, or actually in the K&N series, and wants to move on to the Xfinity series with him. And I talked to Sean yesterday, and he supports him with his Lights Out brand. And he said, I had a talk with Jesse about this truck race, and he said, keep your head down, keep smiling, keep charging. He said he's such a nice guy, and I just want him to know how much support he has here. And oftentimes, Vince, you know, as we're walking around the garage, Sean is at these races. He's a big NASCAR fan and obviously a big supporter as well.
Yeah, great story. Thank you, Jamie. There you see the Speedy Dry being put down to cover up the fluid that was laid down on the track after that Ty Majeski incident. How about some radio from the 98 of Infinger, who was involved in that?
For you here. Right rear looks good. Little scratch back here on the very bumper bar, but did not move the tail over. And the left front, from what we can see from pictures, there's not a rub issue. It did crease a little bit at about 9 o'clock on the left front tire, unless for some reason there is a rub. And when we do stop for tires, pop it back out. We're going to be fine, bud. 10-4. I like it.
That's very encouraging. Jeff Hensley doing a nice job of building his driver up after that scrape up on the front straightaway that sent, man, that truck of Majeski hard into that inside wall.
You know, this 15-lap stage, first stage, the first two stages here at Pocono, just 15 laps. So the shortest stage anywhere we go, and before long, it's going to take the longest amount of time to get it complete. This is why we are currently under red.
Todd, these trucks want to buffet around a bit in the air. And I don't know why exactly the silver truck moves over into the white one, but as they come into view here, there's the move up top. Infinger got a good draft. They're side by side, and there's room there, and then just a little bit of a move toward the inside, and it cost Majeski to spin his truck.
The thing that I see there, Michael, is right when Grant's front end moves over, his back end moves towards the wall. Like, I don't know if there's a new bump there and the thing just jumped a little and turned in. We know Grant's not like that. He's not going to turn into the guy by any stretch of the imagination. But at this point, I'm really going to call this a racing accident. I'm going to rescind my comments about Ty. He gave him room, and just something happened there, and they got together.
It's a tough break for Majeski. He had started 19th, was third at the moment that incident occurred, as you see the damage on the left front of Infinger's truck.
And that view coming down the front, that's racing. That's the way these guys race in the Truck Series. They're going to be all over each other, racing hard. That could be some problem there, Vince. That right rear quarter panel is very sensitive. You need the downforce, the side force on that part of your truck, and if it moved it over at all, like you heard Jeff Hensley say, it didn't, but there is some damage there.
Yeah, you can see right there the scrape that Jeff was talking about. And I think he's right. I don't think it moved the rear fascia over at all, so I think Grant's going to be just fine.
Well, they are going to have an opportunity to take a look at it and repair it if they so choose, as we're about to the end of stage one. We saw that 98 truck sitting there. Infinger sits atop the playoff standings with those 2 wins. In fact, the only one of our Gander Trucks pilots that even has any playoff points. He's got 11, and the rest of the field combined 0.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great start to the season, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Austin Hill has actually scored the most points, but Infinger, with those 2 wins, puts him atop the playoff standings. And Infinger was the regular season champion a year ago, but was disappointed they didn't last longer or deeper into the playoffs, and they are off to a good start. Those playoff points will help him get to that final race at Phoenix, possibly, and a shot at running for the championship.
Just got a message from our buddy Kurt Busch. He said, tell these truckers this isn't iRacing. They don't get any, there's no resets.
No resets in these.
So it's a rough start to the morning. Certainly looking forward to the Xfinity cars and the Cup. Guys, challenging this track today. It's going to be a fun day of racing.
You know, our statistician, Russell from Racing Insights, provides us a lot of great information during the course of the broadcast, and a lot of that is information that is useful, and occasionally he gives us information we'd rather not discuss, like this note that this is the first time in series history we've had 3 cautions in the first 13 laps.
Well, you know, Kurt, we were all young racers one time, and we all wanted to go wide open and go as fast as we can. We made a lot of mistakes, and unfortunately, I think we're seeing that here.
Jamie?
Well, Ty Majeski has been checked and released, and he's okay. The boys in the booth were just commenting what a great job you had been doing under green flag conditions. But what happened there with you and Grant Enfinger?
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see a replay. He had to run out of turn 3. I think I was probably just a little bit late on the block there. Just trying to keep him behind me, trying to get some stage points. We see a replay here. Just unfortunate. We had a really fast truck. Like he got to run to my outside. Looks like I was a little bit late on the block there. So just disappointed. We had a really great truck. thank you to Al Neese. He gave me a shot, and Cody Efa. Man, we had a good truck today. We've been struggling putting it together this year, and felt like we finally had a really good truck. Started 19th there, and we're in the top 5, so that would have been a big day for us. So step in the right direction, though. We have really good speed in these trucks, and we'll go on to Kentucky.
Thanks, Ty. Very patriotic paint scheme. It looked great out there. Vince?
Well, and we've got some takers on pit road as we're back from red to yellow.
Yeah, these trucks outside the top 10 because no stage points were in their future, so they're doing the strategy by pitting now, then they'll stay out and gain that track position back when the leaders eventually do pit.
Typically, the winner once or twice on pit road during the course of the race. Last year, Ross Chastain pitted just once, and that was at lap 27. The year before, the winner was Kyle Busch. He pitted twice, and that last stop was at lap 28. Gives you an indication of where these guys are, what they're thinking.
Todd said the fuel window is about 30 laps, and that means if you pit at lap 27, a couple caution laps during the stage break, you can up your fuel mileage a bit.
And I think a little bit of the fuel mileage game is how well your truck's handling. If you know, Michael, if it's tight, it takes more fuel to run it. If you're drafting, it takes less fuel. So it's up to the crew chief to kind of take those checks and balances and figure that out. If they can, how long they can actually go. Hey, Bubba. He's having a good time.
Now we saw a little exercise. We saw Todd Gilliland out for a little morning jog. Eric Amarola going for a walk. Bubba says, oh, I'm going to hop in the cart.
He seems like the smart one to me.
What a beautiful morning in Pocono, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Weather was a challenge yesterday. NASCAR, as always, did a great job of getting the track dry so we can see some racing. We woke up to a dry track this morning. That's always nice.
Thankfully. All right, we're going to have a dash to the end of stage 1.
Can we make it one lap?
I sure hope so. Sheldon Creed and Austin Hill trying to get us to the green and white checkers.
There they go. Mixing it up, 2 and 3 wide. Nice run by Hill into turn 1.
Sheldon Creed had only led 10 laps all season entering this race today. Officially, he has led them all here this morning, and he is side by side with Austin Hill for the lead right now. Brandon Jones in that 51 dropping down.
That's a bad angle for Jones into that corner.
Creed on the outside trying to hold on and continue the fight with Austin Hill. Great battle for the lead coming to the end of stage 1. Hill on the inside, Sheldon Creed on the outside. Creed going to close the door and on his way to a stage win. Sheldon Creed.
What a great battle that was for that stage win.
Tremendous job by Austin Hill to even get there and give Sheldon a run for the money to get those stage points.
I'm glad to hear you say that, Todd, because I was on the edge of my seat knowing how hard that was, what those guys was doing.
First stage win this season for Sheldon Creed. The Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. The first of 3 from Pocono today. Triple header. First time in NASCAR history. 3 races, same track, same day.
What do you think? I don't think anybody's going to pit. Do you, Todd? They should have more gas than they need.
with all the cautions.
Yeah.
I think that you're exactly right, Michael. You know, if they run this second stage through, they should have enough to get to the end of stage 2.
Certainly.
So
could be some.
Do you run through this stage and pull a Chastain and pit with the 2 laps to go in the stage, get your gas? I think if I'm a crew chief, I'm seriously considering that.
Well, a couple of different options. You know, Kyle Busch, when he won here 2 years ago, he pitted twice, once at lap 12, once at lap 28. Christopher Bell won here in 2017. He pitted at lap 17 and again at lap 32.
But you have to remember, with Kyle, he didn't care anything about any stage points. He was just there to win the race. And you're going to see a various plays here, I think, differing strategies. The further you go back in the field, I think more guys might come to pit road, as you see there.
Yep. Chase Purdy in the 20, or excuse me, that's Tyler Ankrum in the 26. Ankrum second in the most recent race in the series at Homestead, and Ankrum ran second here to Chastain last year.
Well, that's interesting. Fuel only. I think if I'm coming in, I'm putting tires on at this point and go the rest of the way on them.
Tanner Gray to the left, Zane Smith to the right. Smith taking fuel only as well. Brian Doza in.
Talked about differing strategies and how that really makes the outcome of these races interesting to see which plan works the best.
That's the one part of Pocono I always enjoyed, is the ability for a crew chief to make a decision strategy-wise and help the cause. Of course, there's a lot of times that strategy decision can hurt the cause too.
Let's see what Shelton Creed has to say about that beautiful win in that stage. Shelton Creed, Michael Waltrip and the Fox team, do you copy, my friend?
For hours, but we'll get there.
Darn it, he was talking. Hello, Sheldon. Michael Waltrip and the Fox team, do you copy?
Yes, sir, I got you.
I was on the edge of my seat. That was intense racing for that stage win. Great job, bud. How's your truck feeling, and how did it feel doing battle like that?
Yeah, I mean, so far so good here. After nailing 3 restarts, I wasn't going to give it away on that last one. So PJ1's obviously pretty sticky, and man, hopefully we can hold on to this deal and control this race.
I guess the strategy is sort of set now. Maybe pit after that second stage and then try to win it in that win it at the end, which is where you usually do win them, I guess, now that I think about that.
Yeah, I mean, my guys have been working hard since Homestead. We've been struggling, so hats off to them. Great truck today. Chevy Accessories, thank you guys. And man, hopefully we can hold on to this deal and get our first win here.
Appreciate you, bud. Have fun.
Thank you.
Winning them at the end.
I don't know how long I'm going to do this job before I get the hang of it.
Back to Jamie.
Well, updating the 18 of Christian Eckes, I talked to Rudy Fugel, his crew chief, about their strategy for today. He said, ideally, like you guys talked about, Mikey, pit on lap 28, and then technically they could make it to the end of this race. It could be a one-stop race, but that is their plan. Many other crew chiefs I talked to, that's what they want to do. So we're looking at about 9 laps from now they will come in.
Jamie, just make sure they know that they're going to have to win it at the end, whatever they decide to do. Well, that's something I didn't know happened very regularly. Sent Boyer out for a morning jog.
Kind of early for Boyer, isn't it?
Blowing bubbles at the same time. That's pretty good.
He's just getting in, probably. Somebody dropped him off at the gate.
All right, here we go again.
Well, and remember, stage 2, short again. We had the 15 lap stage 1. Stage 2 at 15 laps as well, as Austin Hill and Sheldon Creed will restart on the front row. Brandon Jones and Todd Gilliland in row 2. Enfinger and Sauter in the 3rd row. Sheldon Creed mentioned that he didn't run well at Homestead. In fact, his last 2 finishes have been his 2 worst finishes of the season after opening the year with 3 straight top 10s. So I know that Creed and his crew chief, Jeff Stankiewicz, have higher hopes, and they have certainly delivered so far here today.
Stuart Friesen's been quiet, riding back there in the 12th position. Certainly a big improvement over a year ago when we saw him crash on the first lap. But that team just steadily getting a little bit better, I think. New situation for Friesen.
Made the transition to the Toyota camp this year. Stage 2, green at Pocono.
Here we go. 3, 4 wide, 5 in the back.
That's about 6 way back there.
Some of those good trucks that pitted using strategy to get track position later in the event, they'll find themselves in a real mess right now.
Brandon Jones in that 51 looks like he's got something to work with today. He has been challenging at a couple of different points in this race, and you see the 18 of Eckes up there. Meanwhile, the 19 of Kraus trying to get back up under pace with the Brennan Poole right behind him in the 30. We ride on board with Poole now.
What about Bailey Curry up inside the top 15 in that 44 truck, doing a great job.
Natalie Decker originally slated to run the 44 this weekend at Pocono. Saw her post on her social media that she'd been in a hospital, so we wish Natalie well. There's Infinger in the 98, and Eckes starting to make his move back up as those two are just inside the top 10. There's Friesen on the outside. Right in front of, or right behind Friesen is Brennan Poole, and you get the nice view from Poole's perspective. The 44 to the left of him, Jamie.
And you mentioned Natalie Decker. I just heard from her. She is still in the hospital. She had complications from a surgery back in December. She said she's feeling pretty good. Had to spend her birthday in the hospital, but they're hoping for a plan to get her released today. And of course, her sights will be set on getting back in that 44.
See 44 racing around the 75 of Parker Kligerman. He started last. He's up inside the top 15 now. There's just battles all over this racetrack.
Zane Smith in the 21, Spencer Davis in the 11.
Oh, ran into the outside wall. Bounced off of it there, did Brennan Poole in the 30. Todd, you know how easily that can happen off turn 3. You just pick up a bit of a push and it gets away from you.
Yeah, you're really, we know how hard you got to get in the throttle to get down that long front straightaway. And if you pick that throttle up a little too quick, a little too hard, yeah, your truck has a tendency, even the car, tendency to push up off of there, and it's really easy to get up in that wall. But the one thing that I always enjoyed about Pocono is the ability to set up the, yeah, you hear him pedal it right there. He was pushing right from the start off of that corner. But Pocono has, as a racetrack as a whole, you can set the guy up in front of you every corner, and eventually he's going to make a mistake and you're going to pass him. And that's what I love about Pocono.
Sheldon Creed continues to lead the way, and there is a problem for Brennan Poole after hitting the wall. Maybe cut down a tire there.
Yeah. Squirted across the track there to get to pit road.
Yeah, looks like the right front's still up.
It does.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not very. It's not all the way up.
Man, I was already.
Yeah, there it goes.
Yep.
Yeah, you're
right. Oh.
Stay up top here. Stay up top. Got about 5 more coming. Yeah, 2 more coming. They're 5 back. All clear.
Certainly not the way Poole envisioned his day going in that remember everyone deployed machine.
That's a risk you take when you brush the wall, Todd. It's really hard for the driver, the spotter. Everybody has to work together to see if you got a rub, see if you see any tire smoke. In that case, it didn't last very long before she blew.
No, that was one whole lap around the track. He brushed the wall off of 3 a lap before and hit the wall off in the middle of 3.
So caution again, and caution due to an incident for the 4th time today.
This is risky as well. Going back out there with all that damage.
Oh, they need to.
Going to go to break, but you won't miss a thing. Going to keep it side by side. Going to keep on trucking from Pocono. back at Pocono under caution after Brennan Poole cut down a tire. As you see that 40 iRacing machine for Ross Chastain coming to pit road. Derek Kraus as well. And a few takers.
Yeah. You know, Michael, I don't know that they can make it the rest of the way on fuel right here. So I think they're getting all their work done, so when it comes time, they can make it on fuel.
But
get that little splash.
If they keep wrecking every other lap, they can make it all the way to Philadelphia in this tank of fuel.
Yeah, I'm being optimistic. We're not going to wreck a lot more here. So
like some confusion in that 40 camp as to what they were going to do during that pit stop. Chastain started to take off and then hit the brakes, and they went over and changed the left side tires.
This is when you want him to save every bit of fuel he possibly can, getting up to speed, getting back to the pace car. We don't want to waste any.
You know, we talked about the differing strategies, at least over the last couple of years here at Pocono. And here you see Ross Chastain, the winner last year, Kyle Busch in 2018, Christopher Bell in 2017.
I believe if I was going to think about stretching it all the way to checkered, when they go one to go, I'd come back to pit road and top off.
I agree with you, Michael.
Well, the leaders have not pitted yet. In fact, you look at the top 8, and not just the top 8, but the top 8 as they will restart have not come to pit road.
There's your last place starter.
Parker Kligerman. Always enjoy seeing Parker in the Truck Series.
He's all the way up to the 12th position. This is all strategy, Vince. Some teams, we talk about Matt Crafton at the top of the show, by the way. They said we got to get stage points. That's as important to us as where we finish. And that's why you see the mix-up in different plans by these teams. Those guys up on the front row, first 4, 5, 8 spots, they're all about gaining points during this race.
The playoff battle, as you look at the playoff standings, you would see that it is tight. And those points certainly matter, and especially when you're talking about stage points or possibly a playoff point. Sheldon Creed gained a playoff point earlier today, winning stage 1, and he is the leader here as we get ready to restart with 5 to go. How about the 99 of Ben Rhodes? Jamie?
Ben Rhodes 6th right now, making his 5th start here. It's been a great track for him, but he's feeling some issues. Truck isn't exactly what he wants. This was him on the radio moments ago.
Biggest issue is on the splitter and really tight up off. Like way too much wheeling and coming off up the turn 3. Way too much wheel. I'm burning the front tires off of it, just trying to stay in the throttle so I can keep pace with everybody else.
Common theme I'm hearing up and down pit road, guys. Trucks are tight. They're burning those tires off, so definitely keeping an eye on them. It's warm. It's warming up more than they anticipated with this race starting so early this morning, Vince.
Yeah, you know, I'm really impressed with Ben Rhodes and his progression as a driver behind the wheel. That was fantastic information right there to give to his crew chief. Not just saying the truck is tight, but telling him it's on the splitter and I'm burning the tires off. You got to make it better.
And for the folks watching at home, maybe for the first time, what tight means is what you saw happen to Brennan Poole.
Right.
He came off the corner. He was turning the wheel as hard as he could. He just couldn't get it turned in time to not hit the wall. So that's what Ben Rhodes is dealing with and trying to still keep pace and run up inside the top 10.
And hitting that splitter is one stage in why that truck is tight and handling that way.
The splitter is your best friend. It seals to the road and gives you all that downforce, and you want it right on the road until it starts bouncing off the road, and then it lightens up those front tires, and away she goes.
Jamie mentioned it was warming up, and you see into the low 70s now as we restart.
Ready now. 38 has no help here. 13's off you, all clear. 13's clear here. Cover a little bit, cover low, cover low. Watch for him to jump out late. Out of line, 3/4 back.
Oh, Todd Gilliland getting out of shape in that 38 truck.
2.5 exit.
Able to gather it up, but lost several positions.
1.
Oh,
tough spot right there for Tanner Gray. He's able to hold on, and Brandon Jones is thankful.
I feel like I'm at Talladega, Todd. Every time they go in a corner, I think they're going to all crash. This is awesome racing action. I love this strategy too. You see on the right of the screen, guys coming to pit road as we restart. You see more guys pitting now, taking advantage of getting tires, getting fuel here, and giving up those stage points.
And these final couple of laps here before the end of stage 2. So you see Jones and Infinger on the right-hand side. They'll pit here and then go to the end would be their hope. We would anticipate that should not be a problem.
Eckes with a strong move around the outside of Ben Rhodes. Can he run down Sheldon Creed?
There's Gilliland in that 38. Jamie?
And Todd Gilliland said he had a right rear going down, said absolutely right rear, so the call is for right side only, and he's down and away. Caution's out.
And in turn 1, turn 1 has gotten another one.
You saw Gilliland almost spin, and that was why he had a flat tire.
Jordan Anderson bringing out the caution. Well, it's been a couple of tough races in a row. In fact, 3 tough ones in a row for Jordan Anderson. All 3 finishes of late outside the top 30.
He just needs to make sure he slows down a bit, and if that tire comes apart, it'll rip up his truck.
What an incredible break for those guys that came to pit road, though.
There's Jordan's back in the distance.
Yeah, he's slow. He already knows he's got a flat tire right there. Had to.
Able to keep it off the wall. So avoided damage from contact, and as you said, Mike, bring that back slowly so it doesn't tear up the truck in the process. And get back to work and try to make his way toward a better finish.
This caution flag has really fallen into the hands of the guys that made that call to come to pit road, because now they're saving even more fuel. Even though they're a little bit earlier than normal, these caution laps are certainly helping them in their cause to make it to the finish.
Normally you make that call and you hope for a caution to get you caught back up, and they got it right away. So they're going to be right back in the pack for the restart.
The top 4 still have not come to pit road, but they will. Stage 2 complete as well. It's been all Sheldon Creed. He's led all the laps and won both stages. Can he finish the job? The Gander Trucks at Kokomo, or at Pocono.
Wish we were at
I've been to
Pocono.
Kokomo many times. Kokomo, Pocono. You know, it was that song that they were doing on Hub yesterday, and the old Beach Boys connection between Pocono and Kokomo.
Way down in Pocono.
See some great racing at Kokomo, and we've seen some great racing at Pocono today as well. When they, at least when they've been green, it's been an interesting race here in these early laps for the trucks. The first of 3 today at Pocono, and it's not often you have a little truck racing with your breakfast, but we're glad you joined us here this morning. Check in with Jamie.
Well, Christian Eckes in the 18 is second right now. Their plan was to pit when the caution came out. Here's radio from crew chief Rudy Fugel.
We're just trying to make up as much ground to stay close to the leader that we could have come that lap under green. So no worries. Killed us. That was going to be our deal there.
And you hear it there. Their plan was to pit. They didn't come in and pit that time, so they will here, and they'll just, I guess it's the bed that you make, right, guys? If you didn't pit or you did, you're kind of stuck in that right now. So they will come and take tires and fuel.
Well, they're on different strategies because they have different desires. Some want the stage points, others less concerned with the stage points, and some are trying to position themselves better for the run to the finish. So there's a lot of different options, and that's one of the great things about racing at Pocono, certainly under the format we have with the Gander Trucks in this short race, is at this stage of the race, there's multiple options.
Those tires are amazing that Goodyear has here at Pocono. I noticed that the fastest lap of the race was run by Shelton Creed on lap 21, and he hasn't been to pit road, so the tires don't fall off. And that, Todd, will lead to these crew chiefs having a bigger playbook when they don't have to worry about tires so much.
Well, we saw a couple guys only take 2 tires, and then we seen Ross come and take 2 and decide they're going to take 4. So there's definitely some strategy involved there.
Top 4 trucks you see coming to pit road, all coming for the first time. Creed in the 2, Eckes the 18. Jamie is there waiting for their arrival. Jamie?
They make their way down. The 15 is in now. Some 2-tire stops here, some 4-tire stops as well. It's all about the strategy and what works for the 15. It is a 4-tire stop. Christian Eckes coming in, and Sheldon Creed, who did a really nice job from the beginning of this race. It'll be 4 tires and fill them up with fuel. Said the truck has been tight, didn't want to over adjust. They said wait on him. They want to make sure they pack it full. They can make it to the end.
Oh, and some contact between Eckes.
Chase Purdy.
And was that Purdy in the 24?
Eckes' right front made contact. See if he bent up his fender any.
Eckes coming out of the box, and Purdy was coming down pit road, and
yeah, Christian had to go way out around this truck in front of him.
That's this 11 of Spencer Davis, and yes, right rear and left rear contact.
And you can see his tires were spinning too, Todd.
Yep.
That wants to make the truck turn sideways, and didn't have all the control he needed there.
And contact everywhere. I mean,
They can't even pit.
Pit road's not even safe. The final stage coming your way from Pocono. Issues for the 18 during its pit stop. Check it out.
Well, the fueler wasn't done yet after the tires. He went back to get another. The crew chief was screaming 111. That meant leave a lane outside.
Yeah, that means only go out one lane, and it's not clear, and then you run right out there.
Final stage is underway. That's Ross Chastain in the iRacing, that white and blue truck on the right-hand side, and Zane Smith up top looking for the lead and getting it.
Look at the run by Derek Kraus in that Napa truck. Awesome power around the outside off turn 1.
Zane Smith with a couple of top fives, and Mike, you noted at the beginning of the show, maybe the surprise of the season so far this year, and he's starting to stretch it out a little bit out front. The first driver to be out front since, well, Sheldon Creed led 30 of the laps, 30 of the 33 we've run.
What a great job Derek Kraus just did going around Ross Chastain in a tunnel turn. That was very impressive that he didn't overdrive it.
Battles all over the racetrack. There's the 52 of Friesen down on the inside trying to make up some ground. Brandon Jones again slingshotting out and getting 2 for the price of 1.
God, what a power move
having to hold it on.
That was incredible.
I think Jones has had a truck to really work with today, but just hasn't been able to get up there in position to show it. Been dealing with so much traffic.
Oh, wow. 3 wide in the tunnel. That doesn't work. It did that time.
Austin Hill with a serious power move right there.
Stuart Friesen in the 52 truck. He got loose up in turn 1. Oh, and there's another truck out of control.
Tate Fogelman, the 0-2.
He was hit by Tanner Gray. Gray got loose on the bottom like we talked about all day, how hard it is to hang on down there.
Why is it so difficult, Mike, to hang on at that position?
You don't have any air to lean on. These trucks, the flat side there, it depends on the air to put side force, down force on that truck. And when you are beside another truck, there's a void of air, and it just wants to snap around. That's why it's so intense watching what these guys do lap after lap without messing up. You can see it happens in a hurry when it goes wrong.
And turn 3 at Pocono, Michael, is really one of the worst on the circuit for that because it's such a long corner. It's very high speed. It's flat. Everything about that corner is going against running side by side because you do rely so heavily on that side force, the air on the side of the truck.
Tanner Gray in the 15 and Fogelman in the 0-2.
There you see.
Yep. Like Gray had to gather it up to begin with, and then on the recovery got into the.
And then what didn't help right there is Tanner got in the corner so shallow, Michael.
Yes, that's
that
bad.
He had to pinch it right there.
And almost hung onto it enough to keep it off of Fogelman. And then Gray doesn't crash. You feel terrible when you cause another guy's day to end. You can see some damage there on the right front of the 15 truck.
It started early with turn 1 of lap 1 in an incident, and it has established a trend. The 7th caution today. Check in with Jamie on the 21, our leader, Zane Smith.
And I talked to Zane before he got in his truck, and he just came in with a great attitude, Vince. He said, I won here in ARCA 2 years ago, and I have loved this place ever since. He said, a lot of people may not like to race here. It's hard to figure out. I love it here, especially the tunnel turn. Now, they brought a brand new truck here as well, and he told me straight up, I circled this on the calendar. This is the race for us to win, and here they are leading the race and happy with their truck.
Well, they've had such a good season, involved in an accident at Homestead, and but he has been attention-getting worthy each and every time out. And Bono Mannion, a longtime Cup crew chief, is the crew chief for Zane Smith.
And equally impressive is Derek Kraus. He showed up at Phoenix a year or so ago and just ran right up toward the front. And we're like, this kid's something special. Well, you know what I love, Todd? These guys get here with these opportunities and they're ready. They've I-raced, they've late model raced, they've been everywhere, and they're ready to take advantage, and they don't back down. Zane Smith with that big 3-wide move on Kyle Busch at Charlotte was one of the coolest things I've seen all year long, and it continues here at Pocono.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with Derek, especially what we just saw racing for second place with Ross, getting in that tunnel turn on the outside. You know, Michael, that's difficult. And I got to believe a lot of that traction compound is the reason he was able to pull that off. But still, to have the presence to not overdrive the corner and get back in the throttle, that was he's doing a fantastic job.
See Sheldon Creed atop the chart in our Xfinity fastest lap.
That tells the whole story, doesn't it? Vince, that wall out there with all the tire marks, and they're running really fast and they're running into things.
It's like Darlington out there.
Tate Fogelman just in the wrong place, unfortunately, at the wrong time.
Well, and he's not the first one that's been in that situation today. How about last year's winner, Ross Chastain, Jamie?
Yeah, he's third right now, Vincent. He pitted on lap 24. When they pitted, they really took their time because the nose of that truck has some damage. He was involved in that second caution of the race, but they fixed it up. They're pretty confident they're good to go. And obviously we saw what he's capable of doing here in a truck.
Absolutely. And Chastain working with the crew chief, Ryan McKinney. Ross a winner here last year and finds himself up toward the front again today as we are in the early laps of the final stage.
Ross was one of the first ones to pit, Vince, and I think he's going to be the closest on fuel, but all these caution laps are definitely helping his cause.
Well, we talked a little bit earlier about Austin Hill and the fact that he is one you never want to count out. What a terrific season he's having.
Okay, from this point forward now, we got to fight for the win. So everything you learned in the beginning about goo and lanes, we got to apply now. Copy.
I love Eddie DeHaan. It sounds like he ought to say, and if you don't, I'm going to break your ankles. He's just such a great spotter and so knowledgeable, and that's just great direction. But, you know, Todd, we're going to double down. We're going to push harder now because it's getting close to the end of the race. And we've already seen what happens when they should be taking it easy. So it'll be interesting to see who's able to survive.
You know, we talked about the difficulty of winning here and some of the big names that have won here through the years. And we've got rookies not only in the first two spots, but in three of the top four with Kraus and Zane Smith, Christian Eckes. Although Eckes did race here last year, but officially is a rookie. And squeezed right in between is last year's winner, Ross Chastain.
And back there on row 3, Brandon Jones in that Kyle Busch number 51 truck. He's been solid all day. See if he's got anything for him here at the end. But the fastest truck has been Creed.
Yep.
And he's back in traffic now. Can he get through there?
And it's Creed in the 2 truck, and just ahead of him, Todd Gilliland, who's really had a good run the last couple of times out. 3rd at Homestead and was 6th at Atlanta, running for Front Row Motorsports.
And we just saw him on pit road with a flat tire, so what a great comeback to 5th already.
A lot of good stories, and we're going to try to take you to the end. Boy, we've had so many cautions. We'll see if we stay green or if the cautions litter us to the finish. Chastain giving Kraus a bump and now trying to squeeze in for position. Meanwhile, Smith takes the point, and Brandon Jones there in 3rd behind Christian Eckes.
I like that outside line on the restart. That's why I pointed out Jones up in 6th. He's taking advantage of it. Now up to 3rd.
We saw Ross giving a little push there to Derek Kraus, and it actually cost them both a lot of positions because Derek's truck wouldn't accelerate because his rear tires weren't on the ground.
What about that move by Eckes around
the lead? Eckes takes the lead, and Brandon Jones is going for 2nd. It's KBM 1-2.
And here comes Austin Hill in the 16. He's on the inside of Smith. Heard that pep talk from his spotter, Eddie DeHaan. Took him serious, too, didn't he?
Tell you what, after that restart, there's some guys with someplace to go. Eckes and Jones to the front, and Austin Hill moves into 3rd. Gilliland 4th, and Smith, who that lead off the restart, has dropped back to 5th. And he is falling. And a little contact maybe with the 38 of Gilliland as Ben Rhodes comes around Smith as well. Friesen going by, Sheldon Creed. So Smith just gathering it up, or does he have a little bit more of a problem than we might have anticipated after that little bit of contact with Gilliland? No problem at the front, however, as Christian Eckes brings us to the line, and our Gander RV and Outdoors 20 to go at Pocono.
And with 20 to go, my favorite is Austin Hill. They had problems in the past of having closing speed. Speed when you have to do a sprint to the checker. That truck has both today. He's been really fast on the restarts, and it has long run speed as well. I like what I'm seeing in the 16 truck.
26 is Tyler Ankrum, second here a year ago, getting past Derek Kraus. That's for 9th. Back to the front. Brandon Jones challenging Eckes for the lead. A couple of KBM trucks. Kyle Busch Motorsports has won 4 of the last 5 here and run 1-2 right now.
I like what Jones is doing. He's just looking around on this racetrack, trying to find a line that the 18 isn't in, get some fresh air on the nose, and use that traction compound to his advantage.
Well, I watched him right there. He backed that corner up really far to try to get that run off the corner, and it looks like can't quite make it pull off. Get that draft down the front straightaway and a nice little slingshot. He's going to set him up every time he gets him, every chance he gets.
And Austin Hill is just sitting back there watching these two, trying to pick a lane, close in. Really fast 16 truck. This is a great battle for the lead.
Christian Eckes has never won in the Truck Series. Neither has Brandon Jones. Jones runs full-time in the Xfinity Series, comes down, runs a handful of truck shows. Glad to have him.
I like what I'm seeing from the 51 of Jones, the way he's moving around. He lost some ground there. He'll put that in his notebook. He'll say, okay, that didn't work. But he's trying different lanes and different ways to draft up on the 18 truck.
Well, it got a little too close over that tunnel turn and made the truck push is what happened.
Zane Smith has dropped back just outside the top 10 after that contact with Gilliland, as Brett Moffitt is on the inside of the 21. Back up front, Eckes still holding off Brandon Jones.
Would you rather be leading or stalking, Todd, at this point in the race? You've won a bunch of these truck races.
I would rather be leading. You can kind of control the guy behind you a little bit, breaking the draft. If he's right up on your corner, you know, make his truck push. I mean, there's a little bit of ease in being on the defense, I think, at this point.
Well, how about the stalker, that 51, Jamie?
Well, Kyle Busch, the owner of those trucks running 1-2 right now, last night called a conference call with his 3 drivers, and he basically wanted to tell them where the traction compound was, how it helped him in the Truck Series race, and talking about restarts. Well, Brandon Jones took that to heart. That was a great restart for him as they're going 1-2. Brandon Jones, of course, running the Xfinity Series race coming up later today.
Jones' truck looks to be the fastest, as you see a nice little battle here for 4th, Creed and Gilliland. Creed on the inside.
What about that recovery, Todd? You mentioned it, Todd. Yeah. Gilliland was backwards with a flat tire, and now he's inside the top 5. Another great run for that 38 truck.
Gilliland sponsored by Crossley here today, and Todd said he's hoping to win. Maybe he'd get one of those Crossley jukeboxes that he seeks. Radio from the 18 of Eckes.
1 again, so be ready to take that away from him. 1, just don't give him the top. Don't give him the top. Right on you, don't give him the top.
He did that the lap before. I was going to call it out. He's taking that lane away, taking his clean air away from Brandon, and that's what he's going to have to do, be a little bit on the defense.
Yeah, you heard Tony Hirschman, the spotter, and such a valuable asset to have these veteran spotters on the roof helping these young drivers. Christian Eckes continues to lead at Pocono. The first of 3 today, a triple header here at Pocono. ×3, doing it 3 times.
I love that.
Xfinity Series race will follow this, and then the Cup Series will take us home this afternoon.
Christian's starting to pull away from Brandon a little bit here.
Yeah, that advantage up over a second now.
Yeah, he had 3/10 to the good on that last lap was Eckes, and Eckes also has the most fuel of anybody up there in the top 3, so he's got to feel good about that as well.
He pitted on lap 31, and that's the last bit of the pit cycle, lap 31.
You don't think the little bit of confusion and leaving a little bit too soon, getting gas, and then Rudy heating him up over which lane to be, you don't think that inspired that young man, do you? Because he's been on fire ever since he left pit road.
He and Brandon Jones both got a great restart and vaulted them to the front of the pack. Jones losing a little bit of time, and Todd, you made the comment that he's losing it at the tunnel turn.
Yeah, he was running on the up in the traction compound and losing a lot of time through that tunnel, and Christian was actually pulling away, and that's where he's beating Brandon right now. So he's probably I don't know if he's a little tight, a little loose, probably a little loose being up in that high side.
Well, Mike, you made the comment that you didn't think tires, as you see Moffitt on pit road on the right-hand side, there's the 18 of Eckes around from the lead. Christian Eckes.
Wow.
Coming across the tunnel turn. Jamie.
Christian Eckes just came on the radio, said, I blew a right rear.
Stalking his first win in the Gander trucks, leading comfortably at the time by about a second, and it is up.
It didn't blow out, but it is definitely soft.
Well, there's some cords that look like that were rattling on it. Yeah, he just loses a right rear tire. A nice heads-up driving by Brandon Jones to duck under him.
Well, that could have very easily taken out both the KBM trucks.
See the cords flopping there on that right rear tire. He's called that exactly correct.
Well, what a heartbreaker for Eckes.
He's sideways as he enters the corner. That thing, it was soft on the straightaway even.
Eckes hasn't been feeling well this week, been battling a sinus infection, and that did not help the way he feels, that's for sure.
Now we're going to have another one of these crazy restarts. I'll be nervous, as I'm sure a bunch of crew chiefs and spotters will be too. Those spotters, they really got their work cut out for them here. You mentioned earlier, Todd, it's just such a far piece from the spotter stand down to turn 1 and seeing around this big racetrack.
You know, one thing I've noticed is a lot of guys on pit road with cut tires, and we've had a lot of accidents today. A lot of debris laying around this racetrack and cutting these tires down.
But if you're Kyle Busch and Rudy Fugle, you got to be just ecstatic about the performance of the truck this weekend and this year. The kid's just done a really great job.
Well, in the KBM trucks in general, Pocono is one of the tracks where they run well. As noted, they've won 4 of the last 5, and we'll still have Brandon Jones restarting from the lead here as Eckes crashes from the point. But no fault of his, that's for sure. And Eckes had really, after a bit of a slow start this season, had really gotten it going, turned around. They were 3rd at Atlanta, finished 8th at Homestead. And we're on their way to another great finish and maybe the first career win for Christian Eckes before that issue. Caution for the 8th time today. The record is 9. You see Zane Smith coming. There's the 44 of Bailey Curry, Clay Greenfield in the 68.
Yeah, Zane didn't have the handle on his truck like he had earlier in the race. I thought it was going to be margaritas for everyone if the 21 truck went to victory lane.
We saw the pit crews working on that 21, changing the tires, and these pit crews, some of them working all 3 races today, so a busy day for these guys as well. Well, certainly a tough blow for Christian Eckes from the lead. His day is done. Coming back to the finish at Pocono. Day is done, and that will leave Brandon Jones at the point on the restart, hoping to go for that trophy, and it would be his first Truck Series victory. Speaking of first Truck Series victories, a year ago, that's where Tyler Ankrum got his at Kentucky Speedway, and that's where we'll be at our next race in a couple of weeks.
Be a lot of guys looking to rebound, Vince.
Yep.
What a crazy day we've had here, and what a great race we had at Kentucky a year ago. A lot
Back to
of
your
action
home
there.
state.
That's
Back
right.
to your home state, yeah.
I love Tucky.
Yeah,
it's a
Todd,
great racetrack. Yeah,
Todd's been to victory lane there
a couple times. Got lucky. Love it for the trucks, man. They run about wide open around here. It's so much fun.
All right, Vince, get ready. You're going to have to. I might have to be resuscitated here. I'll hold my breath for a lap or two, see if they can make it.
Well, it's going to be a battle to the finish because it takes a while to sort it out here, and we don't have much left. I mean, we're going to be 8 to go when we take the green.
For the restart.
You learn. It's a race to the finish.
Yes.
Learned it from you, Michael.
We'll listen to the radio of the 16 team, Austin Hill and spotter Eddie DeHaan, as we go back to green. 8 laps remaining at the
He does
line.
not have a push. Off you, but his help is way off of him.
Nice start there for the 16.
Okay. Top's nosed out. The top is cleared by 2. Watch him run here. Watch your mirror. 1 back with a run coming to you. Half. Big gap behind him. Still half.
Austin Hill gains the lead on that restart, but Brandon Jones is right there.
Austin Hill is going to do the best job he can do by driving with one eye out the front windshield and one eye in that mirror, trying to hold off this big run off turn 3.
Oh, Jones looking inside for the lead. Brandon Jones.
Austin had a little wiggle getting down into 3. It cost him all his momentum through there.
And Todd, you had noted a little while ago that Jones really gets a good run off turn 3.
This is going to be tough for Jones to complete the pass.
Brandon Jones back in front.
He drove that thing in that corner.
Little slide job. And
yeah.
Pulled it off.
Lost his momentum a bit.
Hill right back on the bumper. A little bit of gap now. Boy, some smoke out of the truck of the 68 of Clay Greenfield. Trying to make his way back to pit road. Still green. And it's still Brandon Jones by a little more than 2/10.
Austin's a little better around the bottom, but that hurts the momentum so much getting onto the straightaway that he is not going to be able to catch him on these straightaways.
Got a report from Austin to his spotter that his truck pushes tight if he gets up in the traction compound too far, and it hurts his performance. Been a bit of a theme when you're out by yourself. We've heard of a bunch of people being tight. When you get in a pack, they're loose.
Yep.
Jones leads Hill with Creed, Gilliland, and Friesen in the top 5, but third place Creed is about a second behind, and now they're going to tighten up because the 83 of Tim Viens has brought out the caution. So caution for the 9th time ties the record here at Pocono.
Well,
and we're going to have a restart. And it's going to stir it up a little bit more. There's Greenfield finally making it back to pit road. So Brandon Jones and Austin Hill will restart on the front row, and Sheldon Creed and Todd Gilliland there in row 2 going to have their own ideas about who's going to win this race.
Well, we watched that.
I want you way back there in the right-hand side of the screen. See Viens going around.
That last restart, we watched Sheldon Creed give Austin Hill a heck of a push down the front straightaway. Now, Sheldon's going to be behind Brandon Jones, who's going to get it here. Gilliland behind the 16. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens getting down into 1.
What about our man Brett Moffitt? It's been a tough start to the season for him, and today it's not been very good either, but he pitted, Todd, on lap 50, made some more adjustments to that truck, went all the way back to the last truck on the lead lap, outside the top 20, and he's driven up to 12th. So taking advantage of an adjustment and getting that truck better, and now in a position to see if with them bunched up, he can get some more positions picked off.
Moffitt, former series champ, 2018. As you see Brandon Jones. He's been runner-up multiple times.
Well, this is exactly what Brett needed, Michael.
It is.
You know, he needed that caution, get him bunched up and get some more on this restart. With his experience.
And I like being in that outside lane. If he can restart in the 12th spot.
I'm glad you do, because I would rather be on the inside.
I get nervous down there, man. These trucks want to get loose and spin out, but they've hung on to them well today.
Well, I restarted on, I was leading the race, restarted on the outside, and I got spun out in the middle of turn 1.
I was going to say, we've seen the top and the bottom work today.
Yeah, and we've seen them crash from both places. Johnny Sauter been quiet today. There's Spencer Davis. His group's doing a great job.
New sponsor on the back of that thing, Polar Bear Coolers.
That's nice.
Yeah, new to the sport.
Is that a little damage on the right side of it?
Looks like it.
Running inside the top 15. Good run.
So if you had to pick one, are you restarting on the top or the bottom?
He's starting on the bottom. I'm starting on the top.
Oh, so good.
We have a difference of opinion. I think it'll be interesting to see. And you have to consider, Vince, your pusher. Just like Todd was just mentioning.
Right.
It's as much about that as it is where you start.
How about Jamie with Christian Eckes?
And he has been checked and released. Led 10 laps today, was leading when he had the tire issue. Christian, how do you describe that scenario, leading and having that issue?
Yeah, it sucks for sure, but it's probably caused by me. We had a little bit of contact on pit road. That might have created a rub or something, I don't know. They said everything was clear, but who knows, something could have happened. But we had a really fast Safe Light Tundra. We just never could really get a lot of track position, and we finally got there at the end and blew a tire. So guess we move on to Kentucky.
Has a blown eardrum right now, a little bit of blood on his ear. He'll go home and rest up. We'll see him back at Kentucky.
You know, and that's insult to injury when he puts it in that context. You know, we made a little contact on pit road. Could that have just eventually wore through that Goodyear tire? You know, he's going to put that on himself.
It's a great point. You know, you never know what a body part from the other truck get in there and just put a little slice on the sidewall, and all the stresses on those sidewalls. It could have had something to do with it for sure.
Yeah, we had a little breakfast with the trucks this morning, lunch with the Xfinity, and by the time the Cup race ends, it'll be time for dinner. Got all the meals covered today here on FS1.
All right, we're going to come back for a green-white checker here.
Hey, already fixed that. Yeah, thank you. I was going to say fix that for us. Put triple there.
Yeah, it is indeed a triple header today, and the first time ever, 3 NASCAR races, same day, same track. Yeah.
Mark Smith with the assist there.
Spelling bee champion, spelled triple correctly.
This is going to be intense. We talk about it, but this is out the top. Who can take advantage of this restart, get some spots, and then when we have the next caution, be in a better position to win the race?
Well, there's some that would probably tell you at some point they have a good short run truck or they have a good long run truck. We haven't had many long runs today, that's for sure. At the beginning of the show, we picked up our favorites, and right now Michael is, of course, looking like the genius of the group. Their first time for everything.
That that says something about y'all, if that's the case.
I'll tell you what, Michael. The guy in the catbird seat right here is old Stewie Friesen.
Yeah, I don't know.
If he can lay back, it just depends on how well Sheldon can push Jones. I mean, if he spins the tires and doesn't push him, Stewie lay back, get that little run. I don't think he can get the lead, but he can get the second.
The thing is, he just hadn't had enough speed today, Todd, to get up there and contend with them. He can make a good start and make it interesting, but
I didn't say he was going to stay there. I said he could get there. All right.
The one that's shown the most speed, other than the 2 on the front row, is that 2 truck.
Absolutely.
He's had a lot of pace.
Yeah, Sheldon Creed has led the most laps today. He has led 30.
What about Ben Rhodes inside the top 5? He's come alive here. Hadn't talked much about him today.
And never shy when it's time to go.
This is good.
The pace truck will pull off, and when we get the green flag, there will be 2 to go. And we'll be listening to the 16 radio of Team Austin Hill with Eddie DeHaat, the spotter.
He's got to push this time. All for you. No push for you. Right on 2. Rolling back to you.
Into 1.
Move up. He's coming. He's there on your quarter.
Wow, so close to having him cleared. You heard Eddie say you're clear, but then a nice charge on the outside by Jones.
For the lead, Brandon Jones and Austin Hill, and here comes Creed with a little help from Gilliland. It's 3 wide. Sheldon Creed splits the deuce and goes right through for the point. The lead is Sheldon Creed. Wow.
These truckers get it, don't they?
Brandon Jones 1 lap to get back by him. Oh, Sheldon a little loose right there.
This is where Jones has been his best off of 3.
He's got that run.
He's
Creed
got to get
trying to block. 1 lap left. It's the white flag, and we have them side by side for the lead at Pocono. Jones on the outside, Creed on the inside.
Will they make it through the tunnel?
Brandon Jones, a 5-time runner-up. Both of them battling for their first career win in the Gander trucks. Side by side, now Jones grabs the advantage.
Creed got loose on the bottom, and that opened the door for Jones to drive away.
How fitting in the honeymoon capital that Brandon Jones, no longer a bridesmaid after runner-up 5 times. Today is his day. Brandon Jones is going to win at Pocono.
When you boy fans, just get ready for Danny. Oh, way to wheel that thing. Woo!
That was a heck of a job.
Wow. What a finish. Sheldon Creed, that move was unbelievable.
What a
But
morning.
Brandon Jones just fought him off and finished the job. And there, Creed coming up to give a little respect.
That was great, hard racing. They gave it all they had. Creed loose in the tunnel, but was able to stay off of Jones and lost second place. But man, I loved everything I saw.
Give a lot of credit to Sheldon Creed. I think.
Watch, now you've got Austin Hill in the 16, and watch Creed split right down the middle with the little push from Gilliland.
That's incredible. That's just going for it.
I think the Sheldon Creed of 2 years ago probably would have wrecked at that point. But he has figured out these trucks and is doing a great job, as we see right here.
Brandon Jones' truck has been so strong today, and you saw him there over the tunnel turn. He was able to keep his truck a little more secure, where Creed got a little loose. And Brandon Jones and crew chief Danny Stockman, Andy Houston, the spotter. And the first of three. I'll tell you what, the Xfinity Series and Cup Series got something to live up to after this great finish here at Pocono.
I got a text from one of the crew guys at Joe Gibbs Racing. He said that every pit crew member on this 51 truck, it's their first NASCAR win. And so not only is it a special day for Brandon Jones after being the runner-up 5 times, the team's all going to victory lane for the first time as well.
Oh, so cool. Love that.
Look at that.
Doesn't matter what part of the team you are, you win, but the first one is always so special. And Brandon Jones will step out and enjoy this one. How about it, indeed. He won in the Xfinity Series, passing Kyle Busch at Phoenix. And you know you are legit when you do that for the win, and he proved it again today with the win here in the Gander trucks. Jamie's there with him.
And Brandon Jones hasn't been in a truck since last November. Jumps in and makes it look easy. Brandon, talk about the battle with your teammate, who, by the way, had an issue right ahead of you, and then Sheldon Creed's effort on that last 2 laps.
Yeah, well, first off, I mean, everyone that makes this possible for me to come and play in this truck series. When I very first started racing my entire life, I saw the 51 late model, and I said I want to be with Kyle Busch Motorsports one day and win races, and we finally did it. We've been close in the past. Menards was on our car, DuPont. Those guys do so much for us in our sport. That was a heck of a battle. I know it was fun to watch on TV. It was really fun for me there. Got a heck of a push on the 38 there, so that was really fun. All in all, great day. I'm pretty pumped. We got another one too, so maybe we can get it done.
Brandon, what is it like when you know you drive for Kyle Busch and his expectation is to get in this truck and win?
I mean, it's not really that much pressure, honestly. You know, I think there's so much that he provides for us. We were all on a call last night with him after the Cup race. Gave us so much information that led to this win today. So it's a group effort. You know, I can't do it by myself. I got to have all that stuff to tie the pieces in.
Well, you take all that information, you go hop in that Xfinity car. He'll roll off 7th later on. Brandon Jones is your winner, Vince.